Hi guys, this is Fernando and I'm doing a knife review for the Modern Survivalist channel. This is the Spyderco Resilience. Spyderco Resilience is the larger version of the very popular Spyderco Tenacious, which is a high value knife. It is an excellent knife for its price range. This one, in my opinion, is even better. I'd go as far as saying as if you don't have an EDC knife with you, or if you're thinking about starting carrying a knife on every day as a EDC purpose, everyday carry knife, this is a perfect knife for you. And especially in the price range, I mean, this is like for 40 bucks, you can still find it in some places. For that price range, you will be very hard pressed finding a better knife. I really doubt you will be able to find a better knife than this one, because of so many reasons that I'm gonna be covering right now in a second. First of all, the size of this knife. It's simply perfect. It's not too small, it's not too big, it's just perfect for the average size person. I'm an average size person myself, average build, and I carry with me every day this cold steel Vaquero Grande. This is, in my opinion, a large blade. In my opinion, and in the one of most people, has almost a 6-inch blade. This may be too large, too big for some folks that may feel uncomfortable. I have no problem with this. I carry this with me every single day and I just forget about it being in my pocket. But this is just ideal, especially because it fills perfectly well the role of a general purpose knife. Okay, it's an everyday carry knife, but it's an excellent general purpose knife. Not the same thing here where you have serrations, and this is more specifically self-defense oriented. This covers general purpose, including self-defense as well. You can use this for every single thing a knife that is 4 inches, 4.25 inches long should be used. And that includes a self-defense role as well. By that, what are the possibilities? Well, you have this with you. You carry this knife with you, and you suddenly see problems, or someone is showing aggression towards you. You see the need to defend yourself. Just showing this knife, just bringing it out, and getting yourself in a defensive stance will most likely send the aggressor looking for an easier victim. Many other possibilities. Maybe you're struggling with someone that draw a gun on you, a knife on you. You grab the gun, you grab the knife arm, and you start defending yourself as well as you can. Many reasons you would want such a knife with you. Let me show you more detail of the construction of this knife, how well built it is. You rarely see this for a knife that it costs like 40 bucks. It costs $40 right now. I saw it on one of our sponsors, that's EDC Depot. I saw it for like $10 more in Amazon recently, and the reason for that is that the word is getting around that of the quality and the amount of knife you get for the price, so it's getting sold a lot. So that's the reason why you see some places where the price of this knife is going up considerably. But as I said before, our sponsor himself, he has it for 40 bucks still at edcdepot.com. So let's go through some of the different aspects of this knife. It has a full flat ground, which I don't really care much about for smaller blades. Okay, the full flat ground. I generally prefer the saber ground, as you see in this Spyderco, the Endura, which is a classic and I should be reviewing, but I was just so excited about this one that I just had to do it first. This is a true classic of the Spyderco line of knives. This is the saber ground, this is the full flat ground. The full flat ground gives you, I mean, both of these are razor sharp, so forget about sharpness being an issue between full flat ground and saber ground. Both of these properly sharpened will be razor sharp, and they are in fact actually razor sharp out of the box. You can make it a bit better by touching it up with nail pad like this one, just polishing just a little bit. I mean, going for the crazy sharpness of the perfectly polished edge on both sides. This will remove the hair off. Let me actually show it to you. For example, okay, this will easily remove the hairs off your hand with extreme ease. they even pop out as if scared of the edge of this knife. Just a little bit of care and the knife will do what it's supposed to do. Look at how well made it is. You have the clip that could be placed just anywhere you wish. Here, over here, over there. The knife can be completely disassembled for cleaning and maintenance. It opens lightning fast. Has, I don't know what it is that they use, the washers they use here, but you just feel no friction at all. It just opens like extremely fast. It just jumps out of the handle. This is G10, by the way, and it is adequately rounded so as not being a problem, because if you're doing some work with this knife, you're not gonna be using, I mean, let's be honest guys, if you're gonna be doing lots of work, you're gonna be going for a fixed blade. You're not gonna be going for this knife. But because of the size of it, which is just perfect, it's not too big, as I said before, it's not too big, it's not too small, just perfect. Let me show you, for example, what I think of what would be a big knife. This right here is a Wuxi book washer mistress. This is a big knife, right? This is, in my opinion, a big knife. What's the thing about big knives? Sometimes they're not adequate for smaller tasks. If I have, for example, to peel an orange with this knife, or peel an apple, it could be done. Could place my finger in the coil and I could somehow manage to do it. By the way, this is an excellent knife. I don't know if you guys appreciate it, but it is wonderful. I should be reviewing it in another separate video, but it is just excellent. Anyway, this is a big knife, right? And with a big knife, a big folder, big fixed blade, there is the problem of not being just as adequate for smaller tasks. Now with this knife, that's not the problem. You could easily just peel an orange or process food or cut whatever. If you're having a steak dinner or something, you could actually use this knife as well. Okay, let's go back to the purposes of this knife. Before I forget about it, if you have the jimping here, okay, which is okay and all, but if you're using this knife for defensive purposes, you're not going to be doing this. You're not going to be placing your finger here because it leaves a gap opened. And if you do training with non-cooperative partners, you just know how easily knives just fly away. That's because you have a person with a considerable weight putting his pressure with his body against it. So it's very easily, it happens a lot during training that they fly out of your hand. I mean, this is what you do when you're having a steak dinner with the ambassador of France, okay? This is what you do when you're fighting for your life against someone that wants to hurt you or even kill you, okay? Now, why isn't this a tactical knife per se? For this reason, let me show you. A tactical knife would have more of a finger guard here so as to avoid your finger sliding forward, alright? Will have more of a depression and more of a finger guard. There is a possibility, if you don't keep a very strong, very firm grip on this knife when using it for defensive purposes, that it may slide forward. In that case, you're going to be getting cut. You may lose your knife. You may lose the fight, which would be worse than all that put together. When you talk with people that kill pigs with dog and knife hunting, when they do dog and knife hunting, which is kind of popular still here, they will tell you that you want a cross section or you want more of a finger protection so as to avoid that inconvenience. When you kill a pig with a knife, you have that problem. It may slide forward, especially if you have blood pouring, making it more prone to slipping. That may be an issue. Of course, it has a liner lock here. As you see, I prefer the back locks like this one. But since it's such a big knife and this liner lock is like 1 millimeter at least thick, it's very sturdy and it's firm and it will do its job perfectly well. It has a few holes. It's not exactly skeletonized, but it has a few holes so as to lighten it up. For me at least, it's not much of an issue. The weight of a knife, of a folding knife, I'm not gonna be going nuts over that. It's not a problem. What about the steel? This is, let me look it up. Here it is. It's HCR Chrome 13 MOV. How good is this steel? It's not good. It's not very good. It is excellent. This steel is just excellent. Maybe it's not as nice as the VG10 over here from the top of the line Spyderco Endura knife. Maybe it's not as great as this one, but it is still excellent steel for the general purpose knife. I mean, it will hold its edge well. It's easy to resharpen. It has a good amount of carbon. I think it's like 0.8%, and it just sharpens well. It keeps its edge for a long time. Even using it a lot, it just retains its edge perfectly well for a long period of time. It's easy to resharpen, which is important for a knife that you're going to be using often. So, I mean, what more could you possibly ask? Rust resistance. This is kind of almost stainless steel, so really if you get the knife wet, just keep in mind what happened to it and dry it up. Maybe put a bit of WD-40 so as to remove the water and not have a problem later. But this knife is not going to be rusting as you stare at it. Guys, if you think this knife rusts fast, take a look at the Opinel knives, the Opinel steel, high carbon steel. Have that in your pocket for a couple of days without oiling it, and you start seeing as it rusts in front of your eyes. Not the case with this steel. This steel is just, it's excellent for a general purpose knife. Yeah, the VG10 may be a better steel, but it's not much of an issue. Again, it's more of a problem maybe with a smaller knife, where you may be abusing the knife during some circumstance, and because of the size of the blade and not being the perfect ideal steel, it may be cracking on you, it may break sooner than some other steel. Or I mean, again, that's not a problem with a knife of this size, because you have plenty of steel all over the blade. Okay, so because of the size, a steel that is easy to sharpen and retains its edge well, that's exactly what you want. Okay, folks, it's not a pen knife. Of course, it's not a small little pen knife, but why would you want that? I mean, unless you're living in the 1800s and you're writing with a quill, with a feather, and you're sharpening your quill with your pen knife, that's not what you want. You want something like this, a general purpose blade that you'll be carrying with you at all times. A blade that, if it calls for it, the circumstance require it, may be used for defensive purposes as well, with a good penetrating tip, with a good slashing curve in the blade. If you keep in mind to keep it razor sharp, and it is razor sharp as I showed you before, if you sharpen it adequately, it will get its job done. Okay, folks, so that's gonna be it for now, and remember to subscribe and check our website www.themodernsurvivalist.com for comments on this, also the forum. So remember to join and subscribe, and see you on our next video. Take care.